Okay, back with Chainmail. As you can see, we're set up for the Battle of the Crossroads again. I want to give it another run since I picked up some of the rules a little better, I think, and make some corrections. And turns out I was correct the first time. Longbowmen do move 12. I was thinking that since they fought his Lightfoot, they moved his Lightfoot. That was not correct. So all of the invading forces which will be coming in off of this edge will be moving the same rate. They all have a base movement rate of 12. The defenders will be different for the different units. I've changed up, as you can see, the dice. Instead of having an individual die for each figure, I'm just using the pips to represent the figures. I've kind of bulked up the unit sizes. I wanted to do them at 30 initially, but my dice trays wouldn't hold that. So, but with these bigger dice, hopefully they'll be easier to manipulate and move. And I'll just change the pips as they lose figures. Another thing I'm going to change up is the peasants firing the arquebuses. They fire every other turn. I was rolling for an attack every time they fire. I think the peasant roll to attack is meant to be if they're attacking in melee. So I'm going to, unless the enemy is approaching them, whether it's charging them or just moving towards them, I'm not going to make them roll to attack. If the enemy is approaching them or charging them, I'm going to have them roll to defend themselves if they're using their arquebuses. Now, if they're going to have to engage in melee because they're having to reload or the enemy is going to be able to get within charge range, then they'll have to roll their usual defend roll as well. The other thing that I'm going to change is bringing the defending units on at random. They're going to get 4 units per turn because there's 12 units kind of off the board. And I'm going to roll to see which ones come on, and at least 1 cavalry unit will come on each turn because they move faster, so they should get there a little faster. And then the last thing is, I wasn't paying as much attention to the terrain. The rough terrain, you can't charge, so you won't be able to charge through the field. The forest breaks up compact formations, which is what the Swiss are. And so I'm going to have them spend a half a move to form back up after they get through the forest. As far as the dice go, this blue unit here is the heavy cavalry. These are 2 Swiss units. I'm bringing them in. They'll be red. The longbowmen will be a dark blue. These are the peasants. They will all be green. You can kind of see on the edge some of the light cavalry here. They will be yellow or orange. And then our armored foot will be black. And our levy troops, the Flemish troops, will be pink. So that's if I can, I may try to put up some kind of graphic to keep that in mind as the battle is going on. But with that going, let's get on to it. So as far as defending troops entering this turn, I'm going to roll for it with the high rolls being the ones that come on. So this is going to be for the light horse. So there's our light horse. This will be for the other peasant units that are out there. There's our peasant units. This will be for our levy troops. And then lastly, the armored foot. So we got 1 of our cavalry. And there's 2 peasant units. And then we have a tie between these other 2 peasant units and our levy. So we're going to roll again for our peasants and our levy. The levy rolls a 6, so we'll get 1 levy unit, 1 cavalry unit, and 2 peasant units. As far as entry, for the levy units and the armored foot, when they come in, they're going to come in on one of the roads. So we'll go for that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they're going to come in there. And then the peasant units can come in from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And both of those are going to come in down here. And then for our cavalry, we'll also have them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're going to come in from here. So for the peasant troops, normally they have to roll to activate, but since they're just coming out of the table, I'm going to give that a free activation because they haven't seen the enemy coming out of the forest yet. And the peasant troops within the village will also get a chance to organize. And the levy and the cavalry, of course, don't have to roll to activate for movement. So these troops are going to have to spend a move. Essentially, they're kind of just in the village. They were getting ready. They got word that the enemy was coming. They're going to essentially spend their whole move getting organized. This group is moving on from the table's edge. They have 9 inches movement, which I'm doing to centimeters. So that actually puts them right there. So they're spot on. The levy troops also get 9, and the same is basically the same. They can probably straighten up a little. And then these guys get 24. So since, and these are the enemy troops moving on this turn, and we'll move on however many we can. They all have movement of 12. It's halved for the forest. They've just come out of the forest, so they're kind of in the clear. So 12 would be 6, so that's about right. Wow, it all got about right. And they move 12, but they will get their full 12. So we'll move them on to 6 to start, and they get 12 to move on to start. I'm going to treat a single column of dice, since these are larger dice, as a double column of men, since a lot of these foot troops are going to operate in double columns because the Flemish levies and the Swiss both have pikes. So I'm going to treat them that way. But for the second part of movement, the only ones that can move are these 2 units because they've used all their full movement to do what they're doing. So let's see if the directions are going is going to make them collide. Let's see. They have 6 more movement, which will put them there. And they have 12 more move, which will move them there. So they were moving on to the battlefield here. And then they will move their nose to nose before they realize it. So that's going to make things interesting. I'm ruling that all these units spent the previous turn moving up to the battlefield as they were coming on from different directions. So I'm going to give them each 2 movement markers. Each subsequent unit that comes on will add an additional. So the next group that comes on for both sides will have 3. The next group will have 4, and so on. I had forgot my marker there. All right, so that is going to be the end of turn 1. So now we'll get ready for turn 2. All right, for turn 2, there are bowmen behind this group and behind this group. Actually, I should have moved them on last turn, so let me correct that now. And the bowmen are attempting to keep a 3-inch gap so that they can fire indirect fire over the friendly troops in front of them. So let's see what kind of reinforcements this group gets. First, we'll roll for the 3 remaining light cavalry. And then there are 2 remaining peasant groups. And then 2 remaining levy troops. And finally, the armored foot. It figures the armored foot would lag behind. So it looks like we're going to get 1 of each of the other types. So the cavalry can come in from any of the 6 locations. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. They can come in on this road. The levy troops, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5, they're coming in behind the peasants. And then the peasants can come in on any of the areas like the cavalry. 6, so they're coming in here too. So this road seems to be the main thoroughfare. And all of these, after they come on, will have 3 of the movement markers. So these groups who will be defending their village are going to get to form up without trying. These two groups, seeing the cavalry come on, they're going to have to roll to move. And if they can't, the others will have to essentially come on into the field to get around them as they kind of freeze up. So let's go with, they need to roll 7 or better to move. So 5, so this unit can't move. That unit will move. So they're going to move full up. Now these two units, they're staring at each other in the face. They have a decision to make. This group's just going to be coming on. These groups are going to be pushing up. These 3 units have a decision to make. This unit is going to go ahead and take a shot, because otherwise, well, they have troops behind them. So actually, they'll probably leave them to the heavy cavalry and try to move this way. They'll do a left face and move in that direction, trying to make room for their fellow troops to get onto the battlefield. The heavy cavalry is going to charge. Now this group can't charge because they're facing in this direction, and that 90-degree turn, you can't do that during a charge. So what they're going to do is they're going to left face and move away from the heavy cavalry to get some distance, get some space to operate. Actually, let's roll. They will turn to face them on 1 or 2, or they will turn and try to get away in 1 and 3 through 6. Alright, so they're going to try to turn and face them. Now, however, with the half movement, they're going to be in the midst of a change when the cavalry hit them. They have to survive a morale check for being charged by the heavy cavalry. So they need a 7 or better just to stay on the battlefield. And they get a 9, so they do. But they are going to be getting hit, and since they're in the middle of a formation change, it's going to count as a hit in the flank, which it is anyway. Now let's play out the rest of the moves. None of these groups really are going to be able to interact with each other, because they have to wait till they get clear of them to take a shot, and they're just moving up and through, and they're moving that way. So let's get everybody moved. Alright, so 9. And they will get an additional marker. They will lose theirs because they're not going to have to move. They will get 1. These groups, they have enough movement to get to the edge of their village, essentially. This group move up. And then half their movement is on that left face, so they will only have 6 to move in this direction. I want to say the peasants don't have any reason to get off the road. They don't care much for. So this group will be coming up on this side like this. And the levy troops will be moving in to here. And I got to get the other cavalry on. So they can normally move 24 on the road. They can move 30. So they will get into action pretty darn quickly. See, they already had for movement markers from moving to the village. And all of these will get movement markers. All right, so that is just going to leave. Oops. All right, I'm not sure how much of that I got, but I paused it. But everybody has moved. Everybody has their fatigue. I mean, their movement markers added, building toward fatigue. And so all we have left is to see how this charge develops. So each die, as I said, I consider them 2 wide. So this is just the front edge of the heavy cavalry hitting them. So they have 2 men, but against light horse, they get 2 die each. And on a 5 or better, that's a kill. No hits. The light cavalry will also only have 2 in contact. And against heavy, did I do that right? Yep. All right, against heavy, they get 1 each. No, I'm sorry, they get 1 per 3. So most folks say they don't get anything. I'm going to say if you got troops in combat, you always get 1. So a 6 will be a kill. Nothing. So since both groups have barely moved, they're basically going to form out into combat, and it will continue on the next turn. And they will each get a marker for fighting a combat, fighting a melee round. And now we have to do morale. So there were no losses, so there's no difference in casualties. They both have units of 30 men, so there's no difference there. So it's just going to be a matter of the values times 30. Heavy horse have a value of 9. Light horse a value of 6. That's a difference of 3 per man times 30 is 90. So they will be routing 1.5 moves with backs to the enemy. So that's going to be 36, which will run them into both of these units. So both these units will route as well. We'll move them to there. This unit is going to route off the board. this unit, because they'll be hit, they will also be routed. They route a 1.5, that's 9, but they're going to hit this hill in 4.5. So that'll leave them 9 inches total movement, so another 4.5 will put them at 9 total, which will put them here. And this group will be able to continue their charge. They only moved about an inch, so their charge is 18. So that will put them about here. And they will not be able to charge next turn because they charged this turn. And so that is the end of round 2, turn 2. So now we're going to go to turn 3. So this group will attempt to rally. If they're not forced to move, they will rally automatically. Same for them. These groups are going to move further up and try to fire. They'll have to roll for all of that. These groups will also try to move up, and this group will move up, and we need to see what kind of reinforcements we're going to get. Well, there's only 4 units left, so we really just need to see where they're going to come on. So there's 1 unit of peasants left. On a 5, they're going to come in over here. We have 2 levy troops. On a 2, they come in there, and the other group's coming on there as well, and then the armored foot is also coming on there. So somebody's going to be coming on in difficult terrain. The armored foot will say they're coming up last since they move the slowest. These 2 groups are going to switch from column to line. So they'll take their full move. These groups will move up as much as they can. The rest will move in. This group is also going to change column and line, and this group is going to move further up the battlefield. Let's get them their markers. Which leaves us the question of what to do with the heavy cavalry. Will they try to attack this group here? Will they try to attack this group here? Or will they attempt to take off their movement immediately? Or will they attempt to intervene with these peasants? So I'm going to say they view the peasants as the least threat and kind of beneath them. So only on a 1 will they attack them. On 2 or 3, them. On a 4, 5, 6, them. On a 6, they're going after the cavalry. So first we need to see if these groups can move. So 7 or better. 7 or better. They're moving up to the corner. Try to take a shot. Nope. 7 or better. They're going to try to form a double line. Yes. 7 or better, they're going to move up. No. So we'll go ahead and form these up. And they are facing in this direction. So let's go ahead and turn them. They are facing that way. They're all facing that way. I just didn't turn them. Alright. So this group, can they move up? Nope. This group, even if they could move, they can't go anywhere because these guys aren't moving, they're just shooting. Alright, so they're not moving, they're not moving. They're not, they are moving. They're not moving. And they're not moving. This group is not moving, they're going to rally. This group did move. And this group did move. Now for the other side.